Hi, ladies. I am so thrilled to have you on live for our week one Fast Way to Fat Loss Q&A. We're going to have a lot of fun together. As we get started, go ahead and tell me your one main goal through week one of the Fast Way to Fat Loss. Again, as we get started, as we wait for people to pop on, go ahead and tell me your one main goal through week one of the Fast Way to Fat Loss. I cannot wait to hear what your goal is. I do find it helpful to say, hey, here's my well life vision. Here is my overarching main goal. But then we kind of break it up into smaller actionable items and goals as we go through the program. And that helps us feel that sense of progress and passion, which is so key. It's so important through the Fast Way to Fat Loss. We're going to continue to talk about that quite a bit. As we get started, I want to welcome my returning clients. I know we have so many people who are on their second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth round of the Fast Way to Fat Loss who have said, listen, I love the lifestyle. I want to now cement these habits and continue to live in a healthy and sustainable way. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are a returning client, I actually do have a Fast Way to Fat Loss returning client guide that is in progress right now. And what I'll do is I will post that guide for you once we are finished with this call. It's just simply fastwaytofatloss.com/returning client guide. Again, that is for my returning clients. It discusses how to adjust macros and some expectations. It's going to be a guide that we continue to add and kind of, it'll be a living document. It's on my website. But again, that is for my returning clients. I know many of you are on your second, third, fourth, fifth round of the Fast Way to Fat Loss because you love it and you want to continue feeling that progress and really taking your results to the next level. All right, I am going to read a couple of your goals for week one of the Faster Way to Fat Loss. Marie's goal is to eat the right foods. Love it. That's a perfect initial goal. I love it. All right, looks like she has, Caroline says, try not to crave sodas anymore or sweets after dinner. Good for you. Absolutely. Tammy is completing all the workouts. That is her one main goal. Good for you, Tammy. I love it. That's a perfect goal for week one. Absolutely. Renee is hoping to get all the workouts in even on Saturday when she has a family reunion. And Renee, if you need to switch things up this weekend, that's no big deal. You're welcome to do that too. If Sunday works better for leg day or whatever the case may be, that just do what works for you. Bree says, my goal is to focus on whole food nutrition this week and push through cravings. I will tell you guys, I have been going through a bit of a detox post cruise. I went on a cruise a couple weeks ago, came back, and I'm going to be honest with you. When I'm on vacation, I love intermittent fasting because I fast typically most of the day, even like till, mid to late afternoon. And then I'll have all my macros and like one big buffet on the cruise. But I enjoyed a lot of treats without any guilt at all whatsoever because, I'm still, fasting and mostly focused on whole foods, but then having some treats. Well, coming back from that cruise, I am detoxing. And I know that many of you guys are detoxing through prep week and week one of the Fast Way to Fat Loss. So I feel you. If you are feeling those headaches, you even maybe have some flu-like symptoms, there's no like particular specific sore throat, runny nose, it's just like a feeling of tiredness. I feel you. I'm there with you with the detox component. But here's the deal. It's going to pay off in the long run and you are going to overcome those cravings. So I see a lot of you are hoping to overcome cravings and stick with whole food nutrition. Even though it's like we are doing something so positive for our bodies when we say, hey, we're going to focus on foods that come from the ground or have a mother, gluten-free, dairy-free, Fast Way to Fat Loss approved foods, even though we're doing something so positive, unfortunately, we can feel kind of those negative effects of detox as we transition. And also too, many of you who are just joining us for the initial round, your very first round of the Fast Way to Fat Loss, here's the deal. You've been burning sugar. You've been burning off sugar or glycogen your entire life. Every time you go to the gym and work out, every time you do an at-home workout, every time you do activate, you're burning off glycogen. You're a sugar burner. And we're now saying, hey, we're going to transition your body to being a pro-fat burner because we're doing intermittent fasting. We're depleting your glycogen stores Monday, Tuesday. You're going to be burning fat or triglycerides for fuel, which is what we want. That's the goal. You're going to feel that fat melting off, but it can be kind of an uncomfortable transition process. So I want to set that expectation with you. Low carb days, especially as we get started with the fast way to fat loss, can be a little bit uncomfortable, can be a little bit challenging. So let's remember that. Let's have the right expectations. And again, progress is the goal. Progress, not perfection. I want you to feel progress. I want you to feel passion toward your goals. Let's maintain that positive mindset. Do not post on the page later today and say, oh, it's week 1, day 2, and I just haven't got my macros perfect. I'm failing. I didn't do all my reps and sets of the workout. I'm so frustrated. Don't post that. You don't need to post that. It's week 1, day 2 of the fast way to fat loss. You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to fall short, but we're going to continue feeling progress and passion. And you guys are going to get sick of hearing me say that, but it's so important. Couple quick reminders also too, please do not hop on the scale. There is no reason to hop on the scale. The number on the scale is not a good representation of the progress that we're making toward our goals. And frankly, it's not a good representation even of body composition. Many of you will drop some water weight, you're going to drop some weight, you're going to burn some fat as we get started, but then you are going to develop muscle. We want to develop more lean calorie burning muscle to increase your metabolism, maximize your metabolism long term. Muscle weighs more than fat. Let's be clear, you might look, or the number on the scale might be kind of similar even when we wrap up the 6 weeks, but you look so much better. So do not hop on the scale this week. No reason to do that. Couple tips for success on low carb days. So this is day 2 of week 1, low carb day. You might feel a little hangry, especially later today or even tomorrow morning before you break your fast. You might have a headache. You might have those detox symptoms, as I mentioned, a little lethargic because we're depleting your glycogen. Your body's going to transition, but here are some tips for success. And then ask your questions because I am going to answer any and all questions after I run through my tips for success. First tip, enter your meals into MyFitnessPal in the morning or even the night before. Really leverage that tool. Rely on that MyFitnessPal tool to enter your meals so that you can see where you're landing with macros. We want to see where you're landing with your protein grams and your fat grams in addition to your carb grams. Our goal is to consume less than 50 grams of net carbs. Protein's going to be about the same that it will be for our regular macro day recommendation. So if you look down MyFitnessPal and the recommendation was to have, let's say, 85 grams protein or 100 grams of protein on a regular macro day, we're going to do the same thing on our low carb day, and then you're going to fill in the rest with fats. So on a low carb day, you're going to feel like, gosh, I'm pretty high on fats. It's really a high fat, moderate protein, low carb day. So again, Monday, Tuesday, each and every week through the fast way to fat loss, we're doing pretty high fat, moderate protein, low carb. But the cool thing is on Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and replenish those glycogen stores by consuming quite a few carbs. We're going to have all the carbs, all the clean carbs, not the donuts necessarily. We're going to have the clean carbs from the gluten-free, dairy-free carbs. Another quick tip for you on low carb day, have some simple go-to snacks on hand or simply some high fat, moderate protein, low carb meals. A lot of people ask me about snacks. What snacks? I'm like, you know what? Snacks are for babies. I don't really do snacks necessarily. I do more so mini meals if necessary, if possible, practical and necessary. Usually my routine is that I have a substantial lunch. I break my fast around noon with a fairly substantial meal, and then I'll have another sizable meal with the family in the evening. If necessary, I'll go ahead and have a snack, but my snack usually looks kind of like a meal as well. If you work outside of the home, which I have for years and years and years, and so I kind of understand how that can be a little bit more challenging, raw veggies, cut those up, perfect snack. Nuts, I always have nuts with me. I always have a bag of almonds, like just my MO. Beef jerky's great. If you're not sensitive or allergic to eggs, hard-boiled eggs. I am personally sensitive to eggs, so I do not have those. But again, have some snacks on hand, high fat, healthy fats, avocados, coconut oil, but then protein dense and then low carb. Another quick tip, we've got to drink a ton of water as we go through the fast way to fat loss. specifically as we're kind of detoxing through the first couple weeks. Water, 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 so important. Be sure that you're just drinking a ton. Also too, if you feel bloated at all, because it is kind of expensive for your body to process protein. If you're feeling at all bloated, go ahead and be sure that you're drinking a lot of water. Get those bowels moving with, some good probiotics as well. So absolutely key, drink lots of water. The signal that tells us we are hungry is the same that tells us we're thirsty. So many times we wake up in the morning and we are dehydrated. And we need to just simply grab a big glass of room temperature water so our body's quickly absorbing that water. We don't need to grab food. We just should drink, and be hydrated. It's very important. Along the lines of liquids, I would also recommend that you drink herbal teas. I personally still drink black coffee, although I am trying to cut back. I only drink 1 cup of coffee right now, an espresso, but through the detox process the past several days, I've kind of noticed that my body is a little bit sensitive to caffeine and coffee specifically. So I'm kind of trying to back off a little bit from coffee. I personally drink cold pressed juices as well. This one was actually frozen, which is why you can hear the ice, but you'll stay at digestive rest if you drink cold pressed juices. And digestive rest is really the key through the fasted period as well. I don't want you guys to get too overwhelmed about the different liquids. Focus on water for sure. And then herbal teas would be your second best option. And then black coffee if necessary and applicable. And again, on certain days, I will incorporate a green juice, but I'm sure to stay at digestive rest. Another quick tip for you on your low carb days: vary your proteins. It can get really boring really fast to have chicken and broccoli or tilapia and asparagus. Vary your proteins. Have a good, amount of fish, pork, lean beef, sausage. Chicken's great. I want you to do the grilled chicken route with grass-fed chicken if possible, and those types of things too. But I don't want you to feel like you're bored. One of the reasons that I don't offer a meal plan for the Fast Forward to Fat Loss is because the minute I offer a meal plan, I've got clients saying, well, I hate chicken, or I don't eat broccoli, or ugh, turkey, I would never put turkey even close to my lips, or I'm vegan. I have so many people with so many different preferences and so many different food sensitivities. Bio-individuality is a thing. Some of you don't process almonds as well. Some of you don't process broccoli as well, even though they're really good foods. But here's the deal: vary up your foods. You guys are going to be equipped and empowered to create your own meal plan through the program, because I don't want you to get bored with my meal plans, because I'm a creature of habit and I basically eat the exact same thing every single day. And that's just my MO. So again, vary your proteins. Let's bring some variety in. I'd love for you guys to post some recipes on our community group page. Go ahead on that Facebook community group page, post some of your favorite recipes for low carb day. That's really, really helpful for our ladies as we go. All right, another quick tip for you, and then I am going to answer your questions. Focus on healthy fats. During low carb days, specifically, we want to be focused on healthy fats. Healthy fats will keep us feeling full longer, and then also help us reach our macro minimums or calorie goal minimums as well. You're not worried as much about calories through the Fast Way to Fat Loss. It's not a calories in, calories out program. We are far more focused on macronutrients, but good fats on a low carb day specifically is going to go a long way. Fish, nuts for certain. I would probably tend more toward cashews, almonds versus a peanut type nut. Avocados for sure. Healthy oils. I bathe everything in coconut oil on my low carb days. And that for me is great. Recently we've been doing zucchini, sauteed zucchini with coconut oil and then some Himalayan sea salt. Just perfect. So again, let's focus on healthy fats through low carb days and the Fast Way to Fat Loss. All right, guys, I am going to answer your questions and then we will go ahead and hop off. All right. Let's see here. Some people are asking about Spark. I don't know a lot about Spark, to be frank, but some of my Fast Way to Fat Loss coaches might know more about it. Anytime you feel like you absolutely need a certain thing to get through the day, it's probably not super positive in your life. I don't like when people say I'm addicted, I have to have 5 cups of coffee or else I can't do your program, or I'm addicted and I have to have Diet Coke. And that's probably not good. If you feel like you're addicted to anything, let's try to kind of resolve that. And let's try to make it so that we, are focused on water intake, focused on other things that are more beneficial for our bodies. That's just kind of my 2 cents. Again, I'm personally trying to kind of cut back even on my coffee intake. I love the taste of coffee. I love the smell of coffee. I love how coffee makes me feel, an hour after I drink it. But then 2-3 hours later, I do have a bit of a crash. And so I'm kind of trying to resolve that even in my own life. If you feel like you have to drink wine, or you have to drink Diet Coke, or you have to drink whatever to get, I think someone was like mad at us because we were like, you shouldn't drink Coke Zero or Mountain Dew. I forget, it was earlier this. And like, we have science and research studies to prove that having Mountain Dew every single morning at breakfast time is going to literally tell your body to stop burning fat. Like, it is not positive. I literally had a client's husband not join the program because he's like, well, if I can't have Mountain Dew every morning, then I can't, and I'm like, you are literally robbing yourself of living a healthy lifestyle and fulfilling your purpose in a more effective way because of this, whatever. Don't get me started. Okay. What are your thoughts on plant-based, gluten-free, vegan protein? Absolutely fine. Really fantastic to have plant-based, gluten-free, vegan protein. Vegan protein's great. Good question. Amy says, hungry at the end of the day, at what point should I adjust macros? Now. If you are hungry at the end of the day, let's bump up 5% across the board, carbs, fats, proteins. So on regular macro day, we're going to look at the recommendation for our protein. Say it's 100 grams. We're going to multiply it times 0.05, increase by 5%, see how you feel. Especially if you guys are second timers and you're feeling hungry, we need to bump up that fuel. You should feel satiated through the fast wave fat loss. I don't want you feeling starving. I don't want you feeling hungry at the end of the day. We're actually going to do your body a disservice if you're not fueling properly. The reason that so many women have hypothyroidism, adrenal fatigue, and so many other issues, metabolic damage, metabolism damage, is because they're not eating enough. So many women come to the fast way to fat loss and they've been living with a calorie deficit and over exercising. And when you have a calorie deficit and you over exercise, something's going to break. That something's your thyroid. We need fuel. We need enough of the carbs, fats, and proteins and micronutrients so that we can thrive. So if you're feeling super hungry at the end of the day, let's bump up. All right, Olivia, I've never been able to hit my carb goals on normal days because I'm way too full. Should I adjust? If you're in your second round and you are still unable to hit that carb goal, let's go ahead and adjust. No big deal. You might be carb sensitive, or we can just drop down macros across the board. MyFitnessPal recommendations are very generic. The tool is the best tool for the faster way to fat loss as we go through the initial round, just to kind of set those generic universal recommendations. But it doesn't take into account the amount of time that you spend running your mouth. Like, I spend a lot of time on video through the day and I expend a lot of energy, versus Brandon is like very stable, very quiet, doesn't really do a whole lot through the day in regard to expending energy. So his recommendations are actually high for him. Mine are low. So I have to bump up. Okay. Sarah says, I pre-planned my meals for today. Yay. 40% net carbs, 40 net carbs, 59%. I know let me see if I can click down and see the rest of that. I know we are not calorie in, calorie out, but I'm finding I'm short calories most days. Here's the deal. Listen to your body. If you're just starting the program and you're not quite hitting those calorie minimums, it's no big deal because we're probably having more food than you have in the past. I want you to feel satiated, but not full. I want you to feel kind of like 80% full, but that's totally fine as we get started. And then what happens is, as you develop more lean calorie burning muscle and as we maximize your metabolism, you're able to then consume more, and you find the necessity to consume more. There's a lot of misconceptions and myths regarding the concept of fast metabolism or slow metabolism. What we're doing is we are maximizing your metabolism. We are giving your body the fuel that it needs. A person who is very overweight might have a faster metabolism than I do, because it takes more for them to go through the day. Maybe my metabolism is slower than someone who is obese. So again, the whole concept of fast metabolism, it's a bit misleading, but we want to maximize your metabolism. I want you to eat until you're satisfied. I want you to feel satiated. You should never feel like, oh my gosh, I'm having 6 mini meals and I'm never actually feeling satisfied through the day. you should be 80% full. And then as we go through the program and you have an increase in hunger because we've maximized your metabolism, we're going to increase fuel. All right, Shannon, how much do we take into account calories on low carb days? Is it okay to be over or under? Don't really worry as much about the calorie minimums on low carb days. I want you to really simply look at those macros. The macros, less than 50 grams of net carbs, protein in line with your regular macro day recommendation, and then fats will fill in the rest. That's what I really want you to focus on your low carb days. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. I'm scrolling down on low carb days when we are supposed to increase carbs and fats. What does that mean? Is it a percent? On low carb days when we are supposed to increase carbs and fats, you're actually staying under 50 grams of net carbs on low carb days. And then fats is going to kind of fill in the rest once you hit your protein recommendation, and then also less than 50 grams of net carbs. Hopefully you're understanding that, because Julie, you actually said that you're supposed to increase carbs on low carb day, which is not the case. So definitely look through the comprehensive guide and kind of review what we're hoping for on the low carb days. And I know it can be a little bit overwhelming as we go through prep week and week one for those of you who are new. I promise it's going to become effortless. I promise you're going to get this cycle down here in week 2, 3. And then you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, where has this been my whole life? Carb cycling is really working. By week 2, day 3, you're going to be like, holy cow, I'm feeling leaner. I'm feeling energized. So it's very exciting to see that and feel that progress and passion, but it's a little bit overwhelming the first week. So totally understand that many of you have questions. All right. Kelly says, what are some healthy carbs to add during the day to help meet the carb goals? Great question. I would definitely focus on carbs like sweet potatoes, which is a fantastic complex carb. Many of you can tolerate gluten-free oats well. I personally don't like to have a lot of whole grains because I feel bloated. And the cool thing about intermittent fasting is you will see what foods you are sensitive to, because when you break your fast, you might feel fantastic, or you might say, I'm immediately bloated. That's probably not a food that is something I can process easily or well. Fruits are another really great carb. Quinoa as well would be great. All right, I am looking at Katie's question. Katie S says, I'm having trouble on low carb days with too much protein and then not enough fat. I'm not eating a lot of meat. I would have, and am eating healthy oils, nuts, avocado. Any tips? I'm not too worried about you being over in protein necessarily. Protein isn't going to quickly convert to fat. Where, if you have excess carbs, we're going to be storing that as fat for a variety of reasons and science that I am not going to explain right now on the week 1 call. But in regard to protein, I'm okay if you're focused on protein and you're hitting that 100 grams or a little bit more of protein, no big deal. Fats, I would just say, let's focus on coconut oil, avocado, nuts. A little bit of those go a long way when it comes to hitting those fat goals. All right, Cindy says, can I add in a yoga class on days other than Friday and Sunday? Absolutely. Add in yoga anytime you would like. I love that question. Okay, I am scrolling up, looking at the other questions. Jessica says, second timer, still having a hard time getting all the macros in. Should I adjust macros? If you listen to your body and you are still feeling very full at the end of the day, let's go ahead and adjust macros a little bit. And when I post the returning client guide, it might give you some insight, but feel free to ask the coaches in your group as well. That's a great place to ask some of those questions specific for your goals and your needs. All right, I'm going to answer just a couple more questions and then I will hop off. And of course, we'll be answering questions all day. And I see a lot of coaches on here answering questions and returning clients. All right, Stephanie says, how long should we wait to work out after eating? That's a good question. And last week I addressed this on our live training and said, hey, listen, I want the Fast Way to Fat Loss lifestyle to be practical for you. I want it to be something that you can sustain long-term. So if you aren't able to work out in the morning, like myself, I'm just simply unable to work out in the morning, then go ahead and work out in the afternoon when it's convenient for you. The best time to work out is the time that works for you. I personally break my fast around noon. I then work out around 3. That works really well. I don't feel like I'm, rolling into the workout and I'm like so full from a meal that I just had to break my fast or anything like that. If morning works for you, perfect. Then, we're establishing an early morning routine that includes a workout. That's great. But I don't want you to get too held up or caught up on the details of when to work out. I just simply want you to work out. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions. Well, Shanna says, or Shayna, what's the deal with all the lima beans? You're so funny. Are you talking about all the lima beans I eat? Because I do love lima beans. That's so funny. May says, what if I'm going over protein by a few grams each day? I'm used to working out with weights, so it's been challenging. Now, you and I mentioned this earlier, no big deal on the protein. And we might even need to bump up your protein goals in MyFitnessPal. And again, that's just a tool with generic recommendations. But if you are lean and you've been lifting weights and you're doing, quite a bit, we need more protein. If you want to build lean calorie burning muscle, you need more protein. So no big deal. And it might just be that the recommendations are far too low for you in MyFitnessPal. It's a good baseline for people coming to the Fast Way to Fat Loss for the first time. But it's absolutely not, the end all be all in regard to recommendations. All right, guys, I hope that this was helpful for you. I'm going to be on here answering more of your questions as we go through the day, but rely on your small Facebook accountability group for most of your questions. We look forward to chatting with you there and seeing all of your progress this week. I'll talk to you guys